Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Allison Turner. I'm the founder of Bad Cat Media Group, which is home to my other two brands, the Allison Turner and Dream Plan Start Grow. I am jumping on here to talk about sleep and the importance of sleep. And I've gone back and forth on this because a lot of times I have gotten up super early. And when I say super early, like 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. And I still do the 5 a.m. occasionally, but I've not really paid that close. I shouldn't say I haven't paid a close attention to when I've gone to sleep, but it hasn't been a priority to me to make sure I get a certain number of hours of sleep. So more recently, and I would say in the last 6 months, I have focused on getting 6+ hours of sleep a night, at least 5 days a week. And I find that sleep, and like that's optimal for me. So some people need less than that. Some people need more than that. And each person's different because I've talked to different people about it. So you have to kind of figure out what you need. But I track sleep. I have 3 different apps on my phone and I have this Apple Watch here, and I track sleep and how good the sleep is. So there's some of the factors that I track are like heart rate drop, heart rate variability. There's different things that these apps measure. They measure how deep your sleep is because obviously you want to go into REM sleep. And I don't know how accurate they are. I have 3 different apps. And so I kind of look to see if the 3 are on the same page per se. You know, are they all giving me kind of the same result? So if I have really good sleep, that all 3 apps are sharing that, you know, showing the same thing versus, you know, if I have bad sleep, all 3 apps are, you know, and for the most part, they're somewhat in sync. And I do pay for some of the apps, but there's some free apps out there as well. But I wanted to talk about sleep because I find it so important in entrepreneurship. And I find it important because I would get to the middle of my day, you know, and that's like 1, 2 o'clock after lunch. And I'd be like, okay, I'm ready for a nap. And I would just be exhausted and ready to go to sleep. So sleep for me is important because now I don't really get that. So I have enhanced my cognitive function. So I'm more on top of things. I'm more like ready to go when my morning hits. And that doesn't mean I'm perfect by any means. As I said, my goal is 6+ hours of sleep 5 days a week. So it still gives me some time for missing that goal per se. But more importantly, recently I have started to look at not when, I guess when I get up. So instead of saying like I'm getting up at 4 a.m. every day, you know, during the week, or 5 a.m., I look at when am I going to sleep, because that's how I'm measuring, like, am I getting the 6 hours of sleep? So last night, I think I went to bed at 11ish and I probably fell asleep closer to 11:15. You know, I was in bed by maybe 10:30, and then I have like this whole routine I go through. And then I went to sleep maybe 11:15, and so my alarm went off at 5:30. So that's like a little over 6 hours. But I'm more measuring when I'm getting up as opposed to having this hard and fast, like, okay, I'm always getting up at 5 a.m. or I'm, you know, because then I need a hard and fast go to bed time. So some people are really good at that. I'm probably a little less good at that. I have a partner, Jack, who he's a night person and I'm the morning person. So we're kind of polar opposites. So I tend to stay up a little bit later to spend time with him because I'm obviously not going to spend time with him in the mornings. But no, number 2, emotional resilience, because if I'm more rested, then I'm going to actually be more on keel and make my life a little bit better, right? Because if you're tired, and I think everyone can relate to this, if you're tired, you're upset, little things just trigger you more quickly. And that's just the reality. Improve physical health. You know, when I get up and I'm more rested, I have that 6+ hours of sleep. For me, again, it's what I need. I've figured out what I need. And it's taken me a little bit of time to figure that out. You know, I've really looked at, you know, the sleep apps, but then I've also looked at Like how do I feel during the day? And that's the other thing, so improve physical health. So I feel like I'm more operating on, not only emotionally on, full whatever, but also physically. And probably the most important thing for me is improve productivity and efficiency. Because if I am really rested, then I have that. If I'm not rested, I'm flighty. I'm like, I get upset over little things. And that's one of those things that I really have to look at, because my number one goal is to be productive and efficient. Number one goal. So if I can control that in some way by making sure I get the right amount of sleep, great. And then innovation and creativity. I mean, think about when we're rested, our mind is much more free to go many different places. And maybe you're not a creative person, and I tend to rate in the middle when I've run those, kind of personality tests or whatever they're called. I tend to be in the middle. So I'm certainly not the creative person over here like my partner is, but I'm also not on this side of things where I'm all type A and I can't figure out that innovation or creativity. And then better decision making. I mean, think about when you get ample amount of sleep, that you make decisions more, I guess, more easily, but also, you come to those decisions in a quicker amount of time, but also you're just focused on what that decision needs to be. And maybe it's more intuitive in decision making, because for me, it's like, where's my body telling me to go? But that's one of those things that sleep can impact. And then stress management. I mean, that's probably the number one thing, is if I'm less stressed over my day, and again, less sleep for me means I'm a little bit more agitated. A lot of times little things are going to bother me. That stress level is going to go up. I'm going to be tired in the afternoon. And that's what's going to happen. Now, how did I come up that I needed like 6+ hours of sleep? And that's taken a little bit of time, because originally, like, I stopped drinking 3 years ago, and it really was because alcohol impacts my sleep. I would maybe have a glass of wine or something at night, and I could see, all these things I'm tracking on sleep, the heart rate wouldn't drop nearly as much. So I was like, you know what? Like, I want to be productive and efficient in owning a business. So that's where I chose to stop drinking. It wasn't because I had a problem with drinking, anything like that. It was, this isn't helping me. And, the next thing was I'm still tracking sleep. And then I started getting up at 4 a.m. Well, when I got up at 4 a.m., I was getting 5 hours of sleep, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes 6 hours. And I was all over the board. And so I would start my day off right. I'd get a ton of stuff done early in the morning, but then I'd just be exhausted by the time I hit like noon or 1. Obviously half my day had been gone by, but then I wouldn't go to sleep early enough to get back up at 4 a.m. But yet I would still get up at 4 a.m. So that's one of those things, like, I had to make some decisions. Like, do I need to get up at 4 a.m.? Is that the most important thing for me? Or is the most important thing for me the sleep? And so I finally have gotten to the point, again, it's been a goal for me in the last 6+ months that I get 6+ hours of sleep a night. So again, I figured out where I needed, how much sleep I actually needed. I listen to someone sometimes in the morning, and he talks about he only needs like 2 sleep cycles. And I guess we go through a sleep cycle, and I don't really know the science of sleep, so look it up for yourself. But he was talking about how, like, he can hit the 2 sleep cycles, and I think it's like 4 hours and 20 minutes for him or something like that, and feel 100% rested. So I don't know if my sleep cycles are 3 hours a piece. I have no clue. But he did a whole sleep study and everything and figured it out. But I haven't done that. I have just been feeling my body and feeling intuitively what my body is telling me. And while I may get more sleep on the weekends, I may get 7 hours or 8 hours or sometimes 9 hours. but I don't need that during the week. And I've met people that say, like, I have to have 7 or 8 hours of sleep to feel like 100%. So good for you. You know what you need and you're getting what you need. But I think that's the biggest thing is know your body, know what you need, and then make that happen as much as you can. You know, there's always going to be times where we can't make that happen. We have like a big project at work, or we are really focused on getting something done. Maybe we get up a little earlier. I work better in the mornings to get things done. Whatever it is for you, but sleep is important. You know, whether you're an entrepreneur, a business owner or not, sleep is important, because think about, you know, if you go to a job and you get tired, that doesn't help you either, right? So again, quickly, I talked today about, you know, why is sleep important in entrepreneurship? So enhanced cognitive function, emotional resilience, improve physical health. And I think this is one of the big things for me is like how I feel physically during the day, increase productivity and efficiency. That's probably the number one thing I look to do is be productive and efficient during my day. That's probably the number one thing. And that helps dictate everything I'm doing around me. So yes, I still drink coffee. I love coffee. You know, I have like 2 cups a day, typically. Sometimes it goes a little bit more than that, but that's where I try and limit it for the most part. Sleep helps with innovation and creativity. So if you're really trying to think outside the box on something, or you're trying to be more creative or more innovative, like sleep can help that. You know, think about like when you go to sleep during the day, and I rarely take naps. It's only really if I don't feel well that I'll take a nap. And, you know, but you typically wake up a little bit more refreshed. First you're groggy, but then you get refreshed and ready to go. You know, sleep can really impact great decision-making. And then finally, stress management. I mean, who doesn't want to feel stress-free? And the other thing that's really helped me with sleep, and I've been doing it more recently, is I had bought something called BrainTap back last year sometime. And it's this like headset, and they're like meditations. There's an app that goes with it. And then there's a visor that comes down and there's lights. And so there's a lot of binary rhythms and things involved in it. So I've been really trying to do that most times before I go to sleep. You know, it's some breathing exercises, you know, some meditation, things like that. And that's also helped improve my sleep. So figure out what works for you. Figure out how much sleep you need. That's probably the most important thing. Each of us is different. I'm never going to tell someone that, hey, you need 6 hours or you need 8 hours. You know your body. You know what works for you. Figure out what you need and make sure you're intentional in getting that. I hope this was helpful for anyone who jumped on today. Please leave me a comment. Let me know like how you sleep, like how has sleep positively or negatively impacted your life, and if you are a business owner, your entrepreneurial journey. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.